during the event and all that good stuff. So I never know what it's going to be.
Mhm.
And then there's a number of people that also, I just realized I just turned on the camera. There's also a number of people that watch later that I know too. So, hi, welcome to First Key Congregation. If doing the usual intro, we're at the Center of Wichita. And if you've never heard of the Center of Wichita, look at it at thecenterofwichita.org. And actually, even if you've looked at it before, do me a favor, go there again and go into the section called Get Connected. Get Connected is something you're going to hear about from me from time to time, which is a teen group. And it's one of the things I very much support is, let's face it, if kids are different, everybody else pretty much attacks them. And what the idea behind Get Connected is a combination of teen groups so they support each other. They kind of build and grow into their own little family there. And they have people they can depend on. And let's face it, for teenagers, especially somebody who's in the LGBT community, that is a very large thing. And they're trying to grow it a little bit. So please stop by that section of the Center of Wichita.org and look at Get Connected. There's a short little video there. That kind of it highlights some of the teens and what their feelings are and why this is important to them. And I think it's fantastic. And trust me, you'll be hearing from me a lot more on this as time goes on. In fact, I'm going to try and see if I can have a guest speaker come in and talk about it a little bit, and maybe see if I can get some of the teens to come in and talk about it, why they think it's so fantastic for them. But anyways, thecenterofwichita.org. And if you don't know, the Center of Wichita is actually at 800 North Market. Yeah, technically it's not like dead Center of Wichita, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close to the Center of Wichita. So yeah. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about cataclysms and disasters in everyday life. We're not going to be covering hurricanes and things like that. Actually, I did say on the YouTube video, or on the YouTube introduction, we would be stepping back and looking at another thing that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which was video games. Because if you didn't see it before, part of the premise was one time somebody sent me a nice link that basically said, well, video games aren't anti-biblical, they're just stupid. They're a waste of our time. They do nothing for us. They gain us nothing back. On the other hand, there may be something that do gain back for us. And part of the study that just came out, just a second, from the Journal of, and I just lost the journal link. Nice. American Psychological Association is where it was actually published in. What it basically boils down to is, what are some of these games really doing to our kids? Now, the different games do produce different effects. But one of the ones that they studied the most was Minecraft, which is a really big thing, especially with a lot of the younger kids, talking into up to about 12-year-old range. Really big deal. Minecraft's cool because it's multiplayer. It's a lot of logic solving, a lot of, and if they're playing multiplayer, a lot of working together to accomplish kind of cool little goals. They can build separately, they can build together. If you've never played with Minecraft, okay, here's the thing. As a game developer, I find it to be one of the most boring games out there. It's just not my thing. Not enough action, not enough, da-da-da-da. I'm also a lot older and come from a different generation of game players. But on the other hand, all the kids that I know that play this, love the heck out of it. And it ends up being kind of a springboard to other games of the genre. But the basic point is, you have a world that you can build anything you want to. There are things to overcome. There are challenges. But it becomes a lot of time spent with logic. Well, what these guys did is they started studying the effects of Minecraft on a lot of these kids. And I have some parents that could tell you exactly what they came up with, which basically boiled down to, it was teaching the kids a lot of logic skills, but it was also teaching them interactivity skills with other kids. Because of the environment, they may not be the next door neighbor, it may be somebody across the country. These kids are actually given the opportunity to socially integrate even better than they were doing on the playground sometimes, especially because schools have, for lack of a better term, have eliminated a lot of the playtime that's available for kids and focused a little bit more on core curriculums, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it does leave us lacking. I don't know about you, but I remember we had plenty of playtime when we were growing up. Apparently, nowadays they have narrowed that down. There's very, very little unstructured time available. Now, kids get that unstructured time, that unstructured play with other kids through Minecraft. And it's even tying them together better with their families is what the study comes across. So it's actually very interesting to see that not only the statement that video games are just dumb, they don't do anything for us, potentially wrong, but actually there might be a great deal of benefit to them after all, especially for the next generation. So anyways, I wish I would have put a link to it on the YouTube video. I forgot to do that. But if you search, if you want to see the actual study, the easiest way to do it would be search the following: Minecraft Kids Video Game Study. And one of the first links will actually not be to the study, but an article written on the study, but the study is linked from there, and you can read the whole thing for yourself. So it's a six-page study, so it's not too bad, but there's quite a bit there to digest. And of course, part of it is in medical speak, so I apologize on that. But I think it's worthwhile. If you're a parent, you've got kids, and you're worried about this, this might be a worthwhile thing to read up on. Anyways, cataclysms and disasters in everyday life. Now, the last couple of weeks have been a pretty interesting couple of weeks for me on multiple levels. And I'll say this, and some people will just go ahead and turn off the video at this point. I'm getting divorced. Not necessarily my choice, but my wife's choice. And that is one of the great cataclysms. I can't say the word. Yeah, one of the great disasters in life. Let's try that. Because, especially as a believer, you know, we're taught that divorce is a sin. And it is. It comes with a set of repercussions built right into it. In fact, it's part of the disaster. Whether or not there are long-term effects of the sin, meaning in the afterlife or what have you, is up for debate. However, what I can tell you is that typically a divorce comes with its own repercussions almost immediately. Okay, right like that. Thought somebody was going to. For anybody who's not been through something like that, it is a pretty intense process. I have been through a divorce before, and I'm going to go through it again. It ends up involving financial repercussions. It ends up involving depression. It ends up involving all of these things, all of these bad things. There's a lot of reflection on your life, which is a good thing. All these things that come with it, this package of repercussions for our sin. And we talk, you know, a lot of people talk about, thank you, Harvey, that's for sure. A lot of people talk about the repercussions of sin on a long-term basis, as in after we die, we have to pay for them. But, you know, some of these things the payments that we pay for it start almost immediately. But that's just one of life's little cataclysms. And by the way, I'm saying cataclysms, not catechisms. We're not talking about Catholicism here. But the question becomes, how do we deal with these things? Because that's just one. I've got another one that's a great one. And there's potentially this is a good way of going wrong with it. A long discussion I had with a couple of people that I'm handling their marriage December 25th. They're actually getting married on Christmas. Guy was a believer, and he was taught that if you're sick, prayer is the answer. Prayer is the only answer. Nothing else is the answer beyond prayer. In fact, not only that, along with it, the group that he was in was pushing further. Well, if you're feeling bad, the only answer is to pray. If you're feeling bad, obviously you've done something wrong. It doesn't actually describe, though, what really happens. See, in life, there are a lot of things that happen. And sometimes we're not guaranteed that by prayer we're going to have a good life. We don't get a fancy car and a 2-story house and things like this through prayer. We're never told that. We're told to pray without ceasing. We're told that these things are going to happen. And that's what happens. That's just life. We're never guaranteed an easy or simple life. But some people have taken it to mean that. Some people have taken it to mean that if you want health, the only answer is prayer. And I'm sure you've seen plenty of groups that are, why would you go to the doctor? All you need to do is pray. Well, I had cancer on my face, for instance. Yes, prayer was involved. Absolutely. I also went to a doctor. I mean, you know, because he's got the tools, he was given the talent, he was given all these things to take care of that problem. But the rest of our life is also like this too. The person I was talking about, you know, it's unfortunate. He's a really analytical guy, really nice guy. But because of what people kept telling him, this is what ended up helping push him away from religion entirely. Is the idea that goes to talk to his minister. The minister says, "Well, I'm sorry, we don't do consultation. We don't do counseling for somebody who isn't here every Sunday." He said, "But I've been sick." He says, "Well, obviously you're not praying hard enough if you're still too sick to come." This is actually what happened to him. And it boggles me. It absolutely boggles me that that people would push somebody away and say your faith is not strong enough. Obviously, your faith is not strong enough because you're sick. We all get sick and die eventually. It's part of the process. We are given one life and we are given one death. Beyond that, we are given eternal life. It's a totally different subject. But here on earth, we're only given one of each. And yet somehow we're not supposed to safeguard it. We're not supposed to we're not supposed to go to a doctor, apparently. We're not supposed to do these. We're also not supposed to take our children to doctors, apparently, according to some groups. You have Christian Science and some of those that take it a little over the top. And I believe in faith. I believe we should all have great faith in what we're doing. We should have great faith in God. We should have great faith in all these things. But why wouldn't we use the tools? I mean, I don't, to this day, I can't find anything biblical that says we should not use these tools. Now, it's always said we should be praying about it. Just a second. Rejoice in Romans 21:12. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation. Be constant in your prayer. Meaning, if it's going good or it's going bad, we still pray. It's the idea. We're still thankful for everything. We're thankful we're still alive even when we're sick. So, question becomes, both from a biblical and non-biblical perspective. Let's say tomorrow your car is stolen. What should we do? What shouldn't we do? That's one of life's little cataclysms that a lot of people have faced. I've never had my car stolen, but I've had my house broken into and things stolen before. I've had my truck broken into and things stolen before. But I've been lucky. I've never had a vehicle completely lost like that. So the question becomes, what do we do? Well, the first obvious answer. For any believer, one of the first obvious answers is, okay, we pray. Pretty simple. Beyond that, we're really not given much instruction. I'm not saying that the Bible is lacking. We're just not given any real instruction what we should do. A lot of times at this point, we should look beyond. During our great cataclysms in life, our disasters, what do we do beyond that? to the obvious things is our friends and families. These are the people that we know best. These are the people that our family is always in theory. Now keep in mind, I have two types of family. I have my family who I really don't honestly communicate with a whole lot. And then I have my extended family who I communicate with a lot. These people, they kind of fill that void a lot of times for me. And yeah, apparently my ADHD is really, really bad right now. I was kind of focusing. Part of the cataclysms of life here. I have ADHD, which means I'm a very schedule-oriented person. I have processes. I have things that must happen in certain orders, and things I must do to continually stay focused. For a week and a half now, I haven't been able to do those. So forgive me if I seem a little more scatterbrained than normal. Anyways, well, what about you? What happens when the life goes to hell for you? Seriously. Or have you had it happen?
I ended up stuck with family.
So they're stuck with family. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, how do you feel about
it? It's kind of hard to get going again once I'm stuck with them.
Yeah, I can understand that. Talk about my family. They're the people that know us best, in theory. In theory, they're the people that know us best. Unfortunately, the reality is, with actual biological family, we have our masks that we put on. We have these things that we do and these things that we hide from them. Partially because, well, we don't want our parents to know about this. And, you know, my sister would be disappointed with that if they knew that I was doing that. On the other hand, you have the friends that you'll tell this to. And usually for me, those are part of the people I consider to be extended family, is the ones that I'll tell everything that I wouldn't tell my family to. And depending on your family, I'll give you a good example. Depending on your family may not be the most supportive group in the world sometimes. Mine, I called my father and said, well, Kat and I are going to be getting a divorce. My father's response, oh, okay. And then we went on to talk about the fact that I'm just going to bring some stuff over to store there. You'll notice that there was a non-committal sort of noises made there. Not a, oh man, that really sucks. Or not even oh, what happened? No. Just kind of, meh. Okay, well, that's fine. Whatever. You know, yeah, sure. You know, go ahead and use part of the garage to store your stuff in. Nothing. No questions, no nothing. And that's my relationship with my family. Now, on the other hand, I know people who have fantastic relationships with their family. My first ex-wife had a fantastic relationship with her family in some respects. I will not say in all respects. Nobody I've ever met has had that perfect relationship with their family where they can tell them anything. They know they're always there to support them truly, and that they're never going to talk about them behind their back. They're not the whole list of things that could go right and wrong. I've never known anybody that had it all perfectly. It's just a thing. But hers, on the other hand, if she needed to talk to her mom about what was going wrong, she could. She could have an honest conversation. And in a little bit, I actually kind of envy that in a way, because it means she always gets to go back and fall back on that. And some people have that, and it's a fantastic thing. Unfortunately, just a second here. Hello, computer. For those who don't normally watch this, we actually, from time to time, have people commenting online. There we go. There's actually a couple of people that normally attend here saying that they're moving this weekend, not really available. which also reduces the sarcasm level, because the person who normally hits play on the play and stop on the cameras is a guy by the name of Marshall Cox, who some days baits me to be as sarcastic as possible, or to try and make me laugh, particularly on the intros. So, and unfortunately, they're moving this weekend and getting a couple things done. So. Then we're kind of checking in to make sure that it was still going on, and whether or not they should stop by or what have you. Very kind and nice people. Anyways, friends, on the other hand, we have categories of friends. We have those that we have people we know that really, honestly, they're just acquaintances. We don't tell them much of anything, and we really don't expect much of anything out of them. And then we have our circle of friends. Those people that we've known for a long time, usually, that we get along with, that will tell a chunk of our problem, a chunk of what's going on, but we won't tell them everything. We won't tell them the everything, because everything that goes wrong usually has some sort of embarrassing part to it. You don't really want to admit. You don't really want to admit that you lost somebody stole your truck, but well, you probably should have kept it locked or something like that. You don't always tell everybody that, because you don't want to hear the answer. Well, why didn't you lock it? Your close friends, though, those are the people you want to talk to. Those are the people you want to have around you. And I can say from my experiences from the last couple of weeks, having as many of those as possible is a fantastic thing. Because when it all goes to hell, not just pray, also pray for your close friends to actually notice that something's going on. Pray that they're as supportive of you as you are of them. But also, they're going to be a reflection to you. And to give you an example of this, in my situation the last couple of weeks, I announced on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for a place, if anybody knows any place cheap, because, well, cataclysms in life sometimes also cost a lot of money. In this case, getting a new place and getting all the usual services hooked up, like electricity, it's really expensive to get out on your own, especially if you're not prepared for it. So I sent out a call to my friends, basically, just Facebook post saying, hey, does anybody know someplace cheap? And I got multiple offers of places to go live. It ends up being a reflection both of the people I've surrounded myself with, but also it can be sometimes a reflection of what we've done for others. Some of the people that surfaced from it. At the time, we had a roommate living with us. He had coronary congestive heart failure. Thank you. Congestive heart failure, and we moved him in with us because he wasn't going to be able to take care of himself, especially towards the beginning of it. I had a number of people who kind of reflected back about the fact that I had done that for somebody else. Why wouldn't people take me in and give me a spot to get up on my feet if I did this for other people? We talk about doing to others as we'd have done to us. Apparently, when everything goes to hell, that's when we find out whether or not we really did that. Will we want somebody to give us a spot to live? Did we do it for others? And it's an interesting thing to get that reflection back on how we've lived our life when it all just goes wrong. And that's not necessarily saying good, bad thing in a lot of ways, because we don't always have the opportunity. Let's face it. If I didn't have a house to live in, obviously I would not be able to give somebody someplace to live. It's just not feasible or possible then. I had the resources, and Kat and I went, this sounds like a great idea, and we moved Mark in. without those resources, we wouldn't have been able to do something like that. So it's not an absolute, but sometimes it is nice to see that reflection. Or when it's time to move, how many people stand up to say, yep, sure, I'll be there to give you a hand. That's always a wonderful thing. And I did that. I was planning on for family. Well, the difference between friends and family, though, is friends do come and go. Family, you're stuck with them. No matter what happens for the rest of your life, unless you suddenly decide to disavow them, you're stuck with them. Make the best of it, because these people, for better or worse, are the ones that are going to be your first line of defense when it goes wrong. What else should we be doing when everything goes to hell?
Camera's getting seriously out of focus.
Oh, really?
Wait, son.
Camera.
Now it's back.
Okay. It's so weird. And the software that's supposed to be able to lock the focus doesn't even want to launch now. I don't know why. Anyways, thought.
Yeah.
I'll do that while I'm on here. I'm going to connect two of these here. Give up. One of the things we don't do is give up. There are times that it gets too much. You think it's too much. And keep in mind, I'm from a family where I had a parent commit suicide, so I get a little touchy about that area. But there are times where people, they do that. They give up. They give in. They're done. Sometimes it's suicide, or sometimes they go to the next thing. Addictions, alcoholism, drugs, any number of things to numb the pain, to get away from the world. Now, I'm going to mention this one very specifically, because anybody who's watching right now, you might or might not notice that, well, my neck is covered in bite marks. This is because of somebody else giving into addictions, alcoholism in particular. And no, not my soon-to-be ex-wife. I had a friend who messaged me and said, "Hey, why don't you come join me? Have a drink." Sounds great. And eventually, though, her life's pretty complicated. Her life's had some pretty hard shots in it. She's once divorced, having a hard time maintaining relationships that are of the quality that she wants. She has 2 kids. One of those kids is ADHD, and it's kind of rough sometimes, especially for a single mom. And I show up at a bar, and she is fairly drunk. And with addictions, we start making poor choices, and somebody else's poor choices ended up reflecting on me when combination of that loneliness and those addictions became an outlet. And it was unfortunate, but a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this. It's extremely common. In fact, it's even almost socially acceptable for us to give in to the idea of addictions. Go down to the bar and say, "I'm getting divorced." Man, they'll almost buy you drinks because it's so expensive. We see it in TV and movies. We see this idea that it's okay to just wash it all away with alcohol. It's a poor choice, though, because we make even poorer choices when we're in the throes of this. So it's one of the things we most certainly shouldn't do. We certainly should not be letting our, in fact, the times where things are worst is the times to most avoid this. I am not against drinking. In fact, there's the concept of being able to have a drink. It's actually extremely biblical. We're not supposed to do it to excess. We're also very much not supposed to do it to excess habitually. But we're supposed to enjoy our wine. In fact, actually, if you go with the much more Jewish mindset, it is part of our joy that God has given us to be able to enjoy this fermented grape. These are the joys that God has given us. Now, I understand that there's a lot of Christian groups who not just abstain from it, but very actively preach against it. Preach against the idea of having any alcohol, but it's one of the joys that we were given. And it is spoke of reverently in a number of spots. It is also, if you're Catholic, it is supposed to be part of our celebrations of the Lord and of our penances even, and the fact that we take the body of Christ and the blood of Christ, which is, depending on what group you're with, either grape juice or wine. It's done in a number of different groups, but not good to excess. Not good to excess. Which also means that, that's where it's kind of tied together, we have to be strong with ourselves, because it is so easy to give into that idea. It is so easy, especially in this culture, to give into the idea that we don't have to. We don't have to be strong. We can. It's okay to be weak. It's okay to go get drunk about it. It's okay to do all sorts of. And there was a time in my life, good Lord, I would have, especially because I used to drink quite a lot. It's not like I was an alcoholic, but I drank a lot. And there was a time where I would have taken solace in the bottle, to be quite honest. I would have done it once, and then I would have moved on now. So be strong in keeping away from those things. Also, not supposed to be worried. And I'll give you a great example of this. Mark 13:7-9. When you hear of wars and rumors of war, do not be alarmed. This must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places. There will be famines. There are but beginnings of birth pains. But be on your guard, for they will deliver you over councils, and you will be beaten in synagogues, and you will stand before governors and kings for my sake, to bear witness before them. The idea being, these bad things are going to happen. Stuff is going to go wrong. We can't be worried about it all the time. Even when it does go wrong, be calm, be cool. Because worrying, oddly enough, takes us away from everything important. It can take us away from everything important in our life. If we get worried all the time, psychologically, if we're worried all the time, there's a problem. Worry can be a portion of depression. Worry can be a portion of a number of other conditions. But it also means when we're worried, we're usually not at our best. We need to be at our worst. We have to be at our best. When the world goes away and we feel like there's nothing left in our lives, we have to let go, relax, and let these things happen. And I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again with the coordinates here. Romans 12:12. And I like this line for a couple of reasons. Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. All these things go wrong. They are going to go wrong. We're going to get sick. we're going to suffer losses. We're going to have the people around us die. We're going to have so many things go wrong. We're also going to have so many of these things go right. We get married. We have great relationships. We get cool jobs or what have you. No matter what it is, we shouldn't be too worried about it. We should be thankful. We should be thankful that we're still here. Well, let's face it. We're put here for a reason. If we're still here for a reason. Sorry if you're wondering why I keep looking that way. Keep hearing noises. There's actually, the Center of Wichita actually has multiple things going on a lot of times. So every once in a while it starts getting distracting. Well, what's going on up there? And I had a couple of great lines and now I can't find them. Start reading here. One of the things I do see people do, though, is blame others. We're good with it. We're really, really good with this. To the point, we have people now that when Hurricane Katrina happened, major disaster. Well, I was talking about life's disasters, but this is just a major disaster for everyone in that area. And financial disaster and ecological disaster, and people took the opportunity to blame others for it. Katrina happened because of the gays. Katrina happened because of morality. Katrina happened because of all these things. Apparently, Katrina didn't happen because we pointed our fingers at others. Apparently, Katrina didn't happen because of all these other things we were failing to do. But it was because of these people. But I watched this happen also at a different level. Now, I have people ask me the question, what happened? Why are you and your wife getting divorced? What happened? What they expect, the social expectation is, I should say, well, because she's no good such and such. She did this and she does this wrong and she does this wrong. Actually, what I tell them is, well, actually, because we didn't have kids, and something that was a big deal to her. We had a number of issues between the two of us, and stuff happens. There was something about that. I didn't say it was her. I didn't say it was her fault. Why should I? Why should I blame her when it takes two people to be in a marriage? But this is what I watch people do. They get so angry. They get so angry and they blame everybody else. I had a friend of mine for a very long time. Honestly, it was one of the rare occasions where I washed my hands of a friend. Because every time something happened to him, anything that happened was never his fault. Never. Loses a job. It wasn't his fault. The cat got out. Well, okay, so that was one time that you were late for work. What about all the rest of the times you were late for work? Well, there's just always this list of things. Everything that happened to him, nothing was ever his fault. By blaming others, we never learn anything. See, because a lot of these calamities in our life are partially of our doing. I had a business fail once. Was it of my doing? Heck yeah. Because I should have shut it down a year earlier. There's a number of things that could have happened. I believed in people that I shouldn't have believed in. There were problems with the business model. There were all sorts of things. And as captain of the ship, that falls on me. Speaking of sarcastic people, have fun. Oh, you got it. How we looking?
I should have known better. I'm clumsy.
Still good. Still good? Okay. So, sort of, kind of.
She rocked your world.
On yours, it's fine. Mine's got a serious delay.
Oh yeah, because the amount of delay between And that's so variable how much delay there is. So
Sorry, we were moving, we forgot.
no worries. As, there are times where important things happen.
Yeah, speaking of changes, you know. Okay, continue.
Hopefully it's at least a better place.
Much better.
Good. Good. Is it good?
Yeah, it should be good.
Alrighty. But anyways, these people spend their time, every time something goes wrong, they just blame everybody else. We make mistakes, and we should accept the fact that we make mistakes. We are flawed people. Everybody but Marshall makes mistakes. And we should understand this. And in the process of growing up and learning things is that process of making mistakes. And one of the conversations I had was I'm handling, doing the wedding ceremony for these people. They don't have a minister in their life because they're atheists, and that's all right. And I said, look, I'm not a marriage counselor. I can't tell you how to make a marriage work. I got two of them that ain't. So, I'm not an expert, but I can tell you without a doubt what things don't work. And if you guys ever need to talk, please do. And we were talking about it. He says, actually, he had been previously married. He says, we went to a marriage counselor. And he says, I got really insulted because this guy had been married 5 times. 5 times. And he's telling my wife and I at the time what to do. And I finally got angry and he threw his hands up and said, why am I even listening to you? You've been married 5 times. You obviously don't know anything about this. And the guy goes, oh, no. No. Actually, I know everything that doesn't work. Pretty close to having it down pat on the doesn't work part. So I can at least tell you that. We learn from experience. When we're a kid, we put our hand on the stove. We don't do it again. We usually only do it once. And some people that do it more than once, but we usually only do it once. Pretty much. Thank you, Bart. But when we do this thing, when we blame others, we take away our own growth. We take away our own ability to grow up and not do ow, ow, ow over and over. See, because if I spent my time blaming my wife, what would I learn from it? What would I grow from it? Nothing. Since you guys are just catching up to speed, talking about what we should and shouldn't do when we have cataclysms in our life, when we have things go wrong, when the world feels like it's falling apart on us. Big thoughts.
Looks good to me.
Thanks for the help. Thanks for the help.
I'm not sure what the stuck with them part is.
The what?
The stuck with them up there part.
Oh, that was about family.
Oh, okay.
People we should depend upon. Family is kind of one of them. We're stuck with them.
Where would chucking papayas go?
No.
In the shouldn't column, or depends on how
Fruit
ripe they
violence.
are.
Fruit violence. Making smoothies by hand. Oh,
And actually, it does bring up an interesting point.
oh, sorry.
Hello? Hello?
No.
Some people turn to violence. That is the answer for some people. They become angry and violent when things go wrong. To a certain degree, we see that happening in America off and on. And we'll do it over the dumbest things. We will have entire crowds get upset because a college level football coach has been fired. There's an actual riot over that. A bunch of people thought this was worth burning cars for. Now, there's a level of violence that sometimes we can expect out of a situation. And I'm not going to get into Ferguson and things like that right at the moment. We're going to talk about that next week. We're going to talk about race inequality a little bit and the effects of it next week. And talk a little bit about some of the people who tend to like to use the Bible to support, still to this day, want to use the Bible to support the idea of racism. Anyways, but there are people who turn to violence. It's a heck of a thing. It's a self-limiting thing because you can only do that for so long before you find somebody bigger, or they put you in jail, one or the other. But fruit violence, there is no laws against fruit violence as long as it's on your own property. Do not launch the fruit into other people's property.
Okay.
Just saying. Your own property, if you need to blow up, smash, or otherwise be violent to fruit, there's nothing wrong with this. There's a good outlet at that point.
So say it's the vendor.
Oh.
No, I don't sell fruit.
In case you need to pull out a Gallagher or something.
There's nothing wrong with a sledgehammer and a good watermelon. even Cat from time to time says. So when you leave, you're gonna leave your sledgehammer behind? Because I think it's pretty therapeutic. Not a problem. You can have it.
Stick googly eyes on
Anthropomorphic fruit then. It's a little scarier then. Get a little more close to reality.
Googly eyes go flying.
One thing I didn't put on there, I'm not going to say that we should or shouldn't be angry about situations. Things happen, and sometimes it is unfair. Sometimes our reaction is to be angry. Sometimes we get angry for stupid things. On my way here, I didn't get angry when I couldn't cross Broadway because there was a parade I didn't know about, which made me late getting here. But people will get angry about this level of things. There is a level of unjust things that occur to us. Sometimes you have no choice but to be a little angry. It's okay to be angry. It is not okay to wish death upon others, because that's some people's reaction. We're not supposed to do that. We're told that if we're going to wish death upon somebody, it's the same as having killed them in your heart already. We are not supposed to be an angry people. We're not supposed to be a violent people. We're not supposed to be a number of things. But there's a level of anger that sometimes is acceptable. In fact, actually, if you study the psychology of death, for instance, when people die, people in your life die, one of the stages is anger. One of the stages of relationship breakups is anger. A lot of the things that we deal with that are major drastic changes, we studied the psychology of it, usually one of the steps in there is you're going to end up angry. How you deal with that anger, when you're going out and getting drunk and all of these things, that's the important part. Any other thoughts or things that we should be adding to it? Things we should do and shouldn't do when everything goes to hell. You let me down. You've always got so much to say.
Sorry. I mean, I think that's pretty, I mean, other than like petty jabs and stuff, but if you're not blaming others, there's no petty jabs towards them. I think you got it.
That's a side effect of being late. Sorry, taking all the good ones.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of, these things are designed to be interactive, to be discussions and all that. I've got this thing in mind ahead of time. If people aren't talking, it's 3:13. And, there's 45 minutes left.
Yeah. Hmm.
The other one is doing good. And this actually follows, what should we do and what shouldn't we do? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Even at our worst, we need to be our best. It's just that simple. During the most challenging times is when we should be most cognizant of how we treat everybody else around us. It's when we should be the most worried. We'll know if we treated others well when it all goes to just everything goes wrong, we're going to know whether or not we treated others well by how people treat us. But it also means we should also be cognizant of how we're treating people from both sides. We shouldn't be doing these things to ourselves, but we also shouldn't be doing it to others. We shouldn't be encouraging people to do these things. I have actually, the blame others thing, go back to that again. Not only are the people I've known who this is their tactic for everything. I've known people who try and encourage others to do that. That, well, you shouldn't blame yourself. It's so-and-so's fault. But you put yourself in that situation in the first place that caused you to have something go wrong. Yes, maybe the other person's, maybe it's a fight and the other person started. But if you're at the bar, half lit, you've put yourself in a situation where you're also at fault too. And I had a neighbor who was telling me about that, about getting in trouble with the cops because his bar he got into a fight. Well, he was at the bar and he got into a fight. As we talk along, as the story goes along, though, yeah, sure, he blamed it on other people, but in reality, some of his actions that led up to it were the source of it. And I know people that will tell others, blame everybody else. It's not your fault. Like, we're supposed to feel
Also,
good.
when you wrong someone, usually the person who has wronged someone doesn't even feel it. I mean, they're just like, what? Why are you panicking about that? Because they hardly even think about what they've done.
Yeah.
But the person who's wronged remembers it really strongly. So it's an ordeal to them. So it's very hard when you're trying to talk things out with somebody, because if a person's wronged you and they don't realize it, and then you're like, well, you did this, and then they're like, whoa, you're blowing it out of proportion. So, I mean, even when you have a situation, half the time you have to get them to understand that there was even anything wrong in the first place.
There's a lot of truth in what you say, because I have been the guy who was on the other side going, what did I do?
Yeah.
No, really, seriously, I don't understand. How did this insult you? How did this do this? No, I've been that guy, and unfortunately, and I'll say this, it is hard for me to identify with others quite often. So I don't understand. The eyeglasses thing is probably my favorite example of me. I don't understand. Some people take their glasses off and they don't see. I cannot process this. I have glasses. They're for driving. In reality, because I went to the optometrist real recently, got my prescription redone and all this good stuff. In reality, my vision's not that bad. All I'm doing is yes, I noticed. I picked this one for a reason because it looks.
Yeah.
And I'm not this one.
Cleaning them, man.
I'm the only one in the room with my glasses on.
Okay, pink and black schmear. What do you say?
And so yeah, my eyesight's really not that bad. In fact, right here, it's still, the doctor puts the little slide up, because you did the distance one, then does the close-up one. It says, all right, what's the bottom line you can read? Blah, 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 20/20. Also, you need to clean the slide because you've got a couple of specks just down below 20/20. My vision up close is that good. My vision out in the distance is still actually fairly good, but the problem is because I grew up always having excellent vision until I get enough eye strain and cause my eyes to kind of unfocus a little bit, that kind of stigmatism. Just a little blur. It's a little blur. See, so I can't understand. So I can totally understand. This is just a great example that I don't relate and identify a lot of times with other people's problems. So I'm probably, so what?
In that regard.
Yeah.
But if you were talking to somebody with ADHD, then you would know exactly what they were talking about.
Yes, exactly. As a matter of fact, the people that I'm going to be doing the wedding for, he is ADHD. And has been.
Understand how people can't focus.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. How can you not stay focused on one thing? Actually, conversely, how can you all not multitask? What? Why are you not doing 16 things at once? I do not understand this.
I don't understand how somebody can't stay focused and multitask.
So, but yes, you know, the ability to identify with others. If you lack that empathy, it does become an amplifier for these problems. When somebody approaches you and says, "You screwed up a piece of my life right now," if you don't have empathy, man, it's hard to have that conversation. It really is. Oh, look, now I find the marker is good.
Man, we need to get more laptops in here. I want to see like 15 stages of transmission.
The problem,
What's odd is on his, the left side is cut off. On mine, the right side is cut off.
Oh yeah.
They could like put one, well, if they weren't
I have
behind
to
the
say this
lane.
real quick. I'm curious. Oh, that is weird. How? Oh! Because this
Oh
one.
yeah, this one's flipped.
Yeah.
The
camera.
camera's flipped. We actually addressed this on the first one, and we actually
Yeah,
toyed with it so hard. We got this to mirror and look correct on the host computer, but it actually flipped it for the internet.
Yeah. Everybody else who was trying to watch saw it in reverse. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't looked that close.
Well, it's not like anybody reads the stuff I write up here, anyways. It's all for me.
They can.
And this is an unfortunate thing. I wish it was more readable. But there's actually three. That camera is a fantastic little webcam. Fantastic. HD is incredibly sharp on its recording until it hits Google. Google Hangout downsamples everything. So even if it's good and sharp and in focus, people still have a little bit of problem reading it anyways. I've gone back and I've looked at these a couple of times and went, can we fix this? Nothing I can do about it.
See if you can get like wider dry erase markers.
Big chisel ones.
Yeah.
Actually, I like this idea anyway.
Chisel strokes. It's like, bag right. Make your saving throw right, whiteboard.
Save versus marker?
Yeah. Imagine the fumes in here.
I'm not.
Towards the end of the session, we'll be like,
Okay, I'm not allowed to roll saving throws anymore. It's just a rule because I like to crit fumble. So yeah, crit fail on everything.
ones are so pretty.
Have you ever done a 7-point fireball?
That's impressive. That is impressive. But let me explain. No. However, I am the guy who can take the wand of fireballs, fumble with it, do maximum damage, blow the wand of fireballs up, and the wand of lightning that was in the other hand. This actually happened. And blow my character to smithereens.
Oh, yeah.
That was Belloc. Yes, that was one of the many deaths of Belloc.
Sorry for derailing you there.
No.
That was hilarious.
So in those situations, you also needed to look at your dice. It was, but yeah, and that also falls a little bit though into the do unto others. If you want people to empathize with you, you need to learn to empathize with others. Now, if anybody asks me how to learn to empathize with others, forget it. I don't know. I'm still not good at that.
Hang out with them enough.
Sure. You need to understand our friends.
Walk a mile in their shoes against their wishes.
Oh no.
I got
no.
certain size 13 feet. That doesn't work for me.
That's what I'm saying, against their wishes. Like smash the heels.
Stop it. No.
No.
And like just like chase him, like stiff arm him, and then
No.
it'd be so fun.
No.
And take it.
No. That is the opposite of empathy, my dear.
I think that almost comes under violence.
Darn it. You're right.
You do it to fruit, though.
Do it to fruit. That almost sounds wrong.
I'll understand later. Yeah, I think I pretty much hit the list. Does anybody have anything to add to that list?
Nothing productive.
Nothing productive. Because we were pretty good at the unproductive. We are really pretty good at that.
I got that down.
There are also other techniques and things like that. Some people, for instance, when it all goes wrong, they do well by absorbing themselves in work. Which actually sometimes that falls into addictions too. There are some people that spend time coding, maybe what brings them peace. If they don't have that access to that anymore because of whatever thing has gone wrong in life, they'll feel that it's even worse because they no longer have access to that coping tool. Me, I like to go work out. It's one of my coping tools. I don't have access to that right
How much in you binge?
now. So what?
How much in you binge?
Okay.
Well, let's see. I take a Bowflex and I max it out at 310, which is a Bowflex, so subtract 70% from that. And then I take another 70 pounds of actual weights on top of that and load it on the Bowflex's thing. So depending on how you want to calculate it, somewhere between 240 and 380.
I've never binged anything in my life. I just like saying how much you binge.
I can believe that.
I thought you were gonna lunch and said, "Do you want to help us move?"
I'm surprised I didn't get asked. I'm usually that guy.
We're just kidding. You're almost done.
Good, I don't have to.
Both of us
And now
scared
you
the
feel
willies
better
out of
because
me.
you're like, "Thank you. I don't have to move something else."
Both of us just scared the willies out of me. You s-
It seems like something that could go very wrong.
It does. I mean,
It
you know,
looks
just
like-
snapping aside.
Torture
You might
device.
just you might lay down, you know, everything and get ready to start your reps, and then like the arms on their own accord will just reach down and grab.
And that's what happens when you frail a bench press.
Oh.
You hear this low voice. Oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen you around much.
Oh.
You're supposed to work out regularly. Then take him Bowflex.
That would be, yeah. No, both X's are automatically vindictive anyways. Just goes with it. Any piece of workout material is sadistic and vindictive. So.
Yeah, I like Patton Oswalt's take on it. All his workout equipment is within sight of all his recreation equipment. You know, because he's got it all. He's got his treadmill set up like right next to his Xbox and stuff. So his treadmill has to vie for attention. Like, hey, come on, it's only half an hour.
I'm trying to imagine Patton Oswalt on a treadmill.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting it.
That's why. Because his
Xbox wouldn't win that.
his treadmill has to vie for attention and has to basically audition every day.
It was very funny.
A little sad. Come on. Come on, man. Jeez. Come on. You feel better. You want
No. See, this is why I'm not allowed to have MMOs. Because the MMO or the Bowflex, the MMO.
I paid rent this month. Oh, sorry.
You need to pay rent, huh?
Yeah, I've been moving and my internet's down, and I'm like, oh no, my rent, my villas.
He's talking about how trucks
Speaking of
fall.
MMOs.
He wasn't talking about the actual rent to the building that we're moving into or the one we're moving out of.
Not only that, not only that, the servers have been down for a week. Crap. I lose my villas.
Yeah.
I stopped playing games that did that.
No, it doesn't cost real money. Just life.
No, I stopped playing games that made things disappear or put them in a box if you didn't keep regular maintenance going.
See, and my thing about the regular maintenance in games is they're trying to simulate a little too much real life, because yes, I have to pull out the checkbook to pay a bill in real life. In a game, there's a pile of gold, and there's a guy who wants paid for his pile of for his stuff, and there's a pile of gold. Why doesn't the game just hand it out?
And
See, because they used to do that. They used to do that. Civilization, a lot of those, they all did that for you.
in Asheron's Call's case, it's not so much it's trying to simulate the real world. There's a finite amount of server space, so there's a finite amount of actual villas and housing on each server. You know, that so not everyone can actually have a house due to limitations of their servers. So this is their way of apportioning residences. So you have to actually can keep your maintenance up and everything, and then that way, if you fall behind or decide you don't want it, you can just release it or not pay, thus freeing it up for other people, or you can continue to pay it and
Not actually
keep
play the game, but pay it. That way you just keep it there.
right. So if you still just want it, like say for instance,
It's storage space
pretty much it's just
for
storage.
virtual stuff that doesn't
Basi-
exist in the real world, but
Basically, if I
in
want
the
to
game.
I'm following this.
if I want to piss off the regular player base that's still playing, you know, it's like I have 3 villas and I don't even play the game anymore, people. Someone somewhere is fuming.
Of course. Of course.
Sorry. Shutting up.
No worries. All right.
I'm sorry.
So what?
You said MMO and it frightened me because I haven't.
Well, now WoW has garrisons and things like that. There was a temptation to reinstall WoW. Bad. Because remember that part I said about addictions? The last time I had something horribly bad go wrong was a divorce, lost a business, lost the house, lost the car. And what did I do? I fed my addictions. Wow. Lots and lots and lots of hours of WoW. That was how I filled all of my time for quite a while, which was, you know, it's 16 hours of play in a day. So, yeah, I have to avoid those things, particularly in moments like now. Yeah, got it. It's not an option.
I too want to. Action's Call has less of a hole in my life. I can just pay rent and go away. I don't actually play.
Still confused why you continue to upkeep it if you don't play it.
In case someday I want to play it. Plus, I have stuff there.
Yeah, this is a funny thing.
So you got a game that's actually a U-stored game.
Pretty much.
Okay, just thought it'd be clear. Do they have an income in the game that allows you to continue your upkeep on your U-store?
Yes and no. If you have to play to get the income, you have to like, you know, get stuff, but I've gotten so much stuff accumulated that I'm set for rent for about a year, so I don't actually have to play.
Gotcha. So a year from now, you actually are going to have to log
Yeah,
on.
I'll just start playing.
Gotcha.
You were referencing Minecraft earlier.
Uh-huh.
Sony Online Entertainment is working on the next level landmark.
Gotcha. Which, what was Microsoft's answer to that? Microsoft's got an answer to it too.
Yeah.
The question becomes whether or not they actually,
These are all player created using the tools in ways that the tool builders had no idea.
well, that's the fantastic thing about open world setups like that where you can create, is that the fans will find amazing ways of doing things that you could never have imagined they were going to do. Somebody did a 2D Minecraft emulator built inside of Minecraft. All of it is logic gates done using Minecraft parts. Insane.
That's insane.
It's well, you should see
I thought
the
Space Invaders was insane in Minecraft.
same level of what the heck are you have too much time. That's usually my answer to those. I hate to say it. Every once in a while I look at some of these things and go,
It looks
yeah.
better than the penis dispensers in Second Life.
Second Life, that was weird. That was
Scary
weird.
thing.
I went through a Second Life phase. And I never came back. I just once I was I actually got it to the point I was selling T-shirts. I had a T-shirt shop in the game and making money off of it. And then something hit me one day. Oh yeah, no, this is real. Yep, I'm done. I learned all I wanted to about it and moved on. Not everybody looks at virtual worlds the same. So, plus a lot of the areas of Second Life were like, really, this is what? And I won't repeat some of the areas I saw that just made me no. Yeah. Anyways, I guess we're gonna wrap it up a little early. Next week.
It's just degenerated into a decathlon.
Yes, it did. Which it is called for congregation, so that does happen. Talk about racism next week, and we're going to talk about this. Will be, and I know I've seen some of Marshall's comments and how wound up Marshall has been. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, this is a topic that should come up often in our country right now. Racism and equality are some of the things we should be talking about a lot right now, because we have some serious issues still. And it's, yeah, so I'm not picking on you for being vocal about it. I actually kind of encourage it. So anyways, next week we're going to talk about racism. We're going to talk about it both from a religious standpoint. We're also going to talk about it from a cultural standpoint. And we're going to look at more than just Christianity, but a number of other religions and how they've dealt with racism over the century and millennia, and how some of them still do. Because we're not alone in having racism problems here in America. Yes, I say the lily white guy standing here is talking about racism, but the truth is a lot of countries have, and a lot of religions have and still have had and still have deep issues with it. So we'll be talking about some of them, and of course, what we as believers should probably be doing about the subject, or maybe not. I don't know. So, anyways, that'll be next week. So, yeah, if somebody would hit that button that says "Stop Broadcast." Y'all come back now.